Standing Committee Report Number 1083, third reading of Senate Bill 669, Senate Draft 2, relating to cannabis.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Senator Moriwaki,
thank you. I rise in opposition.
please proceed.
Senate Bill 669 proposes to decriminalize the personal use of cannabis. It's premature. Much more work is needed to address the concerns raised by our regulatory agencies. The legislature decriminalized medical use of marijuana to help those suffering from pain. We acted with compassion and with medical parameters to protect persons from misuse of this drug. But crossing the threshold to personal use of this increasingly potent drug, even for a small amount, is premature. This bill doesn't have the regulatory safeguards for the health and safety of our community. We know the widespread adverse impacts of substance abuse. We struggle to help our homeless, domestically abused because of addiction. This session, we're making more stringent our drunk driving laws and controlling vaping. How does decriminalizing cannabis for personal use fit in with these values? We must ask ourselves if we are enabling the abuse should this bill pass. It makes little sense to use increased tax revenues to justify more drug use. This bill contains serious technical errors and omissions, including the lack of funding. I have other concerns from the Attorney General, the prosecutors, the Department of Health, and the Department of Transportation who testified on this bill in opposition. And I ask that those be entered as part of my remarks in the Senate Journal. I ask my colleagues to vote no on Senate Bill 669. Thank you.
Those comments shall be inserted into the journal as requested. Further discussion, Senator Inouye.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also rise in opposition to this measure. The CDC has provided a lot of reasons to say no to recreational marijuana, and here is one. People who are addicted to marijuana may also be at a higher risk of other negative consequences of using the drug, such as problems with attention, memory, and learning. Some people who are addicted need to smoke more and more marijuana to get the same high. It is also important to be aware that the amount of THC in marijuana, such as the marijuana potency or strength, has increased over the past few decades. The higher the THC content, the stronger the effects on the brain. In addition, some methods of using marijuana, dabbing or edibles, may deliver very high levels of THC to the user. Researchers do not yet know the full extent of the consequences when the body and the brain, especially the developing brain, are exposed to high concentrations of THC, or how recent increases in potency affect the risk of someone becoming addicted. I have received many oppositions in my district from my constituents, and I urge my colleagues to vote no on this measure. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in strong support.
Please proceed.
We were the first state to legalize marijuana for medical use, yet we are one of the later states to legalize it for recreational use. This bill is a very small step. It decriminalizes a small amount, 1 ounce, less than 1/10 of the product that we are allowing for medical use. Excuse me, a quarter, less than a quarter of what we are allowing for medical use. And not only that, we are allowing licensed dispensaries which are over-regulated, if you listen to them, and actually have the more stringent standards in any of the other states. Our labs, the Department of Health labs, inspect the cannabis for multiple toxins, for multiple pesticides, from the multiple molds that other states do not inspect. So this bill is a very small step. It allows us to cut back on the illicit market by allowing free access for only 1 ounce of recreational use, and it allows for the dispensing of a safer form of marijuana for those who need to use it. And for those reasons, I urge my colleagues to pass this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Kalole?
Thank you, Mr. President, in support.
Please proceed.
With all due respect to my fellow colleagues, prohibition on alcohol ended in this country 90 years ago because it was an unsuccessful policy. It just does not work. It does not allow us to focus from a public health standpoint on the segments of our population that really need help and support. That's why we got rid of a complete ban on alcohol, and that's why that policy does not work as well for cannabis. When it comes to cannabis versus alcohol, there's a plethora of public health information that shows that alcohol is as dangerous, if not more. There is a strict regulatory regime to ensure that products are safe. That is the proposal that we are pursuing here in the Senate. It is time to take these products off of the black market, to regulate them effectively, to bring in the segments of the community that have been operating in the shadow, and to recognize that there are broad potential benefits economically, but also from a healthcare standpoint, to providing more access to cannabis to our community. And again, to address the correlation to the regulatory actions that we take on vaping and tobacco. To me, those are arguments in favor of bringing this industry into the light, regulating them effectively so that we can make sure we are managing for the predatory aspects of any commercial industry, cannabis included, to protect the health and safety of our children. But also, again, to focus on the segments of our population that really do need help and support, not the rest of the community who are grown adults who can make decisions for themselves. I ask my colleagues to join me in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Favela and then Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Senate President. I rise in support.
Please proceed.
I'm probably one of the few in here that was against it when I was a young child. As I got a little bit more older, I learned a little bit more about it. You put it in the ground, you plant it, it grows. Alcohol and tobacco is manipulated into what it is, what we drink. Diet sodas, Coca-Cola, everything else manipulated for us consumption that is not good for us neither. Reason why I say this is because I had a cousin, he's a couple years older than me. I used to call him a junkie, don't get me wrong. But I realized if he did not have marijuana in the morning and marijuana at night, he won't be able to concentrate, he wouldn't be able to work, he wouldn't have been graduated. He's working almost 35 years in Operator Engineers Union, he's gonna retire. But he never used it in overuse. It's in moderation just like anything else. If we use too much alcohol, it also can cause brain damage. If we can drink too much water, we also can kill ourselves by drinking too much water. Everything is in moderation, but I agree with my colleague from Kaneohe that we need to get them off the streets because the drugs that is being sold on the streets, you're not knowing if it's safe or it's laced with something, and people think it's funny when they lace it with something and somebody goes into a medical problem and have brain damage. So I'm in support. Thank you, Senate President.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, would like to stand in strong support.
Please proceed.
And first of all, I want to thank the work of the chair of CPN that he's done on this measure. I mean, he did a lot of hard work on improving it, addressing the concerns of the numerous stakeholders, particularly addressing the concerns of the monopolization of the potential recreational industry that has occurred in other states. You know, it's funny, we were the first state, as the speaker from Puna said, to adopt medical marijuana, and yet we're one of the last to look at recreational marijuana. You have purple and red states like Oklahoma who have gone in this direction to bring it above ground and to tax the revenue. Right now, the revenue that's generated, and it's happening everywhere, goes to organized crime. It goes to off-world figures. It doesn't go to fund our schools. It doesn't go to fund our communities. It doesn't even go to fund addiction programs. It goes into the hands of criminals. As my good colleague from Hilo noted, you go to the 4th floor of the airport and it's full of smoke right now. So it's happening all around us. It's only by bringing it up and regulating it and taxing it and then providing the revenue for support for those who do struggle for addiction problems that we can truly have this work for our communities instead of against it. So I understand the concerns that many members have risen. However, I think the work that's being done on the bill is remarkable, and I think it deserves further conversation. So I, too, hopefully will see this bill progress, and I stand in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators Richards, Elefante, Aquino, Decoit, Wakai, Kidani, and Shimabukuro. No votes. Senators Morawaki, Senator Inoue, Senator Awa.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 669, SD2 passes third reading.